Hey guys, this is Sergeant Phoenix back in the action, and as you can see, we are now doing a deck profile on Jinzo. Now, I have only one thing to say about Jinzo. He is one of my absolute favourite cards. Not because of the neutralising trap effect, which is very handy if you're up against all trap users, which I have done before, but mainly because it's one of those well-known cards, it's well-famous, and I love the design of it. Now, as usual, I'll do monster spell and traps, and there's no extra deck for this deck because it's more of like a starter deck. It's more of a starter deck for when I'm working to improve it, because I just bought it from eBay. So first we'll start with 3 copies of Jinzo. I mean, honestly, you look at that card, you just know he's already cool. Now, its effects. Trap cards and their effects on the field cannot be activated. Negate all trap cards on the field. Basically, as I've said, Jinzo has the power to basically neutralise all traps that are up against it. Your opponent can't play any traps, and even if they have traps face up on the field, they can't use their effects. And I'm going to mention something. There was a character who used, there's a thing on Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 3, and I'll mention it after this. Next, we have 3 copies of Jinzo Lord. Now, his effects cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand by sending 1 face-up Jinzo you control to the graveyard. Trap cards and their effects on the field cannot be activated. Negate all trap cards on the field. So it has Jinzo's neutral effect, but it has a other effect which is quite beneficial. If, like I said, if your opponent uses all traps. Once per turn, you can destroy as many face-up traps on the field as possible, and if you do, inflict 300 points of damage to your opponent for each card destroyed. Now, he is a little bit stronger. Jinzo has 24, he has 26, so it's not an all-powerful monster, but, like I said, if your opponent's using trap base to either use defences, summoning, this can be completely useful, even if they've not got them face-up on the field. This card wouldn't really affect me because my personal deck, mainly because even though I do rely on some traps to do everything, I mainly use tributing and special summoning techniques mainly on spells. Now next we have 3 copies of Jinzo Ejector. And I really like, honestly, I look at the Jinzo designs and I love them already. I mean, the design of them, it's not too advanced, but it's similar features, obviously, because it's all Jinzo based, but obviously the design of them would be something even I would wear for a cosplay. Now, Jinzo Ejector's effects are, this card's name becomes Jinzo, okay? While this card is on the field or in the graveyard, you contribute this card, add 1 Jinzo monster from your deck to your hand except Jinzo Ejector. Then reveal all set cards on your opponent's spell or trap card zone, and if there are traps among them, you can special summon Jinzo from your hand up to the number of. Oh, you can summon Jinzo monsters from your hand based on the number of traps revealed. So you can only use this effect of Jinzo Ejector once per turn. So not built for attack, mainly built for defense, as 2,800 defense and 800 attack, but it's actually not a bad. It's actually a really good effect, actually. So if I have 3, so if my opponent has 3 of them, I can special summon 3 Jinzos, and Jinzo doesn't have any effect requirements. It could be special summoned straight away, like if you use Monster Reborn or any other cards. Now next we have Jinzo Returner. If this card attack directly, when this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target. This card can attack directly, only has 600 attack, so it's not a lot. When this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 Jinzo monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but destroy it during your end phase. But probably, I could see a few loopholes to that. I could see possibly a few loopholes, but it depends on what you do. You could probably special summon it, then tribute it, summon the same copy. Like if I used it to summon Jinzo, I could just tribute it to summon either another Jinzo or Jinzo Lord. So straight away there's a loophole to it. Next we have Jurigado. One of Merrick's cards from Yugioh. Season 3, and it was the final duel he used this on. He didn't use it in any other duels, but it was quite a good card. I would definitely use this in a Winged Dragon of Ra deck, mainly because of its effects. Now, its effects are: during the battle step, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. If you do, gain 1000 life points. You can only use this effect of Jurigado once per turn. Quick effect, you can tribute this card, then target one face-up monster you control. It gains 1000 attack until the end of this turn. So straight away, if I summon it, I gain 1000 life points. Then I play Ra's effect, give it all my life points, but 100 to Ra. So let's say he has 7,900. But I need an extra 100 attack points to wipe my opponent out. Since it's 8,000, I can tribute him and give my monster 1,000. Give him 8,000, almost 9,000 attack points, which is obviously more than enough. And another one of Merrick's cards, Makura, the Destructor. If this card is sent from the monster zone to the graveyard, you can activate one trap card from your hand this turn. You can only use this effect of Makura, the Destructor, once per turn. Decent attack, okay defense. That's all I gotta say. And there is a trap card in this deck, but it's mainly to summon Jinzo. It says this is a Jinzo based deck. Now next we have Psychic Mega Cyber. If your opponent controls more spell or trap cards than you do, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Psychic Mega Cyber once per turn this way. When this card declares an attack on an opponent's affects monster while you control Jinzo. Okay, so you do need Jinzo for this, not bad. You contribute this card, place that opponent monster face up on that monster face up in the spell and trap card zone as a continuous trap, and you can only use this effect of Psychic Mega Cyber once per turn. That is absolutely brilliant with Jinzo. Put him in spells or traps. Straight away, you have got Jinzo Lord dealing damage. That is absolutely beautiful, That's our response. That is beautiful. So they did come up with I was going to say, they need to come up with loopholes. Now we're up to our spells. First one being 2 copies of Everlasting Alloy. If you control Jinzo, activate one of these effects. All machine monsters you currently control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects until the end of this turn. While a card or effect is activated that targets a machine monster or monsters you control, negate that effect. And the quick spell, so it's good. And I like the design, if you see. One involves shining them up, and then the other involves creating a shield. So I like that. I like the design of this very much. Because Jinzo only stops traps from being activated, but Jinzos are still completely vulnerable to being destroyed by effects, affected by effects, or destroyed by battle. But if you got copies of this, you could protect them. And here comes the grand finale. The attack spell. And I do class these as attack spells because it has the name of what their attacks are. Like Dark Magician's Dark Magic Attack. Dark Magician Girl's Dark Burning Magic, I believe. Blue Eyes is White Lightning, I believe. But, it's like saying it stops them from attacking, but then it makes them... Anyway, let me just go back to this. So, Cyber Energy Shock is a quick spell. If you control Jinzo, target one card on the field, destroy it, then if it was a trap, you can apply one of these effects. You could use that that last monster to help out. Negate the effects of one face-up monster in the field to the end of this turn. All Jinzos you control gain 800 attack. You can only activate Cyber Energy Shock per turn. So, not bad. Even I can say that's actually not a bad one. Now, next we have 2 copies of a continuous spell, Cosmos Challenger. Now, if anyone notices straight away like I did, this is the character who has Jinzo before Joey gets it, because Battle City rules when he got Jinzo, you had to give your strongest card to the winner. So if you lost, you would have had to forfeit his Dark Magician. And if And obviously if Kaiba lost, since he had Obelisk the Tormentor, he would have had to give up his Egyptian god. You can send one monster you control that is owned by your opponent to the graveyard. Special summon one machine monster from your hand or graveyard. When your opponent draws for their normal draw in the draw phase, while you control Jinzo, you can declare one card type, monster, spell, or trap. Your opponent reveals the card they drew. If it is the declared card type, send that card to the graveyard. If you do, draw one card. You can only use each effect. Okay, so that's actually not bad, actually. So basically, if I say that the card my opponent drew is a monster, and it is, he has to send it to the graveyard. If it's not, nothing happens. But if I guess right, I also get to draw an additional card. So that's not bad. Doesn't say I need to control one. But there is one card I did see in this deck, Mind Control, and I do believe you need one copy of this, so if that's the case, I can swap them out. I can easily replace them with other things. And I think this is a one copy only as well. I need to double check. I haven't checked the list in a while. But I know Amplifiers effects. Now, Amplifiers effects are, and it's an equip. Equip only to Jinzo. This card's activation and effect cannot be negated. The equipped monster effect trap card. The equipped monsters effect trap cards and the effects on the field cannot be activated. Negate all trap cards on the field becomes your opponents cannot activate trap cards or their effects on the field. Negate all trap effects on your opponent's controls. When this card leaves the field, destroy the equipped monster. So basically, and I can put this down in basic terms, now instead of Jinzo affecting all the traps, even mine on the field, Amplifier basically changes the effect, and now it'll only affect my opponent's trap cards. But when Amplifier is destroyed, Jinzo's destroyed as well. Now here it is, 3 copies of Mind Control. I do believe it's 1 copy of this card. I need to double check it. If it is, I can basically just change these around for something else. Now, its effect, target one monster opponent controls until the end phase. Take control of that target, but it cannot declare an attack or be tributed. That's a downside if I wanted to tribute it at Jinzo, but obviously if I could use it for something else, maybe I could. Now next we have 3 copies of Brain Control. Sure. And Brain Control is obviously a Season 1 card straight away. Pay 800 life points, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls. That can be normal, summoned, or set. Take control of that target until the end phase. Next we have 3 copies of Monster Reborn. And obviously target one monster in either graveyard, special summon it. So you could summon Jinzo Ejector, and other ones. And the last ones are my traps, and these are the only traps I have. Psychic Shockwave. When your opponent activates a trap card, discard one spell trap card, special summon one level 6 Dark Machine monster from your deck. So definitely that's Jinzo straight away. Now, this is where I like to give my opinion on the deck, and if I'm going to improve it, what can I do? Straight away, I love this deck. It's, like I said, I'm a fan of Jinzo. I like the design, I like the concept, and I like it when you have those annoying coward players, I like to call them, who use all traps and basically just sit back and just make you lose all your deck. It's the oldest and wimpiest trick in the book, in my opinion. Only a coward plays like that instead of playing with respect. But this is the best way to neutralise that strategy if you want to play their game against them. Because even if they play Tribute Torment and you've summoned Jinzo, nothing happens straight away. And I can tell you, nothing happens because the traps cannot be activated no matter what they do. Which is perhaps the best thing about Jinzo. If your opponent relies solely on traps for all their strategies, if they're using trap monsters, negation effects like Dark Bribe, I'm trying to think of other traps. There are all sorts of trap combinations you can use for special summoning, tributing. This Jinzo is literally the crowning jewel to neutralise them. You just have to hope you're not using a trap-based deck, because if your deck's mainly built around traps while you have Jinzo, then they're completely useless. So I would mainly rely on a Jinzo deck spelling monsters, which is logical. Now, I wanted to mention something about one of the characters in Jinzo. Now, everyone knows who's watched Yu-Gi-Oh! On Season 3 of the original series, the 5 members of Kyber Corp came back, the big 5, and the last member who we see, Lester, actually becomes Jinzo in the virtual world. Because since they've been trapped in the virtual world for so long, they've lost their bodies, and they need new bodies, so they make a rule using what they call the Deckmaster rule. Basically is you play as a normal duel, but there's an added effect. You choose one monster from your deck, and it acts as a Deckmaster, so it stays outside the field until you play it on the field. So let's say Jinzo's my Deckmaster, like Lester's was. He goes on the side while I just play out, and if I wanted, I can play him on the field any time I want. Each monster has a unique Deckmaster ability. Jinzo's is basically the same, but with a twist. Jinzo affects, like Jinzo's normal effect, Jinzo affects all trap cards on the field, but if Jinzo acts as your Deckmaster, he only affects your opponent's trap cards, so Amplifier wouldn't be needed. Because Amplifier didn't exist until the GX series, as far as I know. Because the Spirit of Jinzo dueled against Jaden Longstarry. Anyway. And the cool part was Lester actually took the form of Jinzo. That's what all the members of the Big 5 did. They were both the duelists and the Deckmaster. And me and my mate played this rule. I used to play Yugioh Hunter Cal for my Deckmaster. I have to pay 600 life points per monster I use for a fusion summon. So if I'm summoning Chaos Etching a Giant, that's 600 times 4, which is basically I have to pay 2,400 to summon that monster out. Just think, if I don't have a fusion spell. Most people ask why would I do that. I think it just made the card more fair. Otherwise, I don't want to just keep summoning out fusions like it's easy. And you could only play it once per duel. That was our little rule we had. And I would have liked to have seen that rule played out, like Deckmasters and everything. I would have liked to have seen it played out more, but, it was only a one-time thing. So, comment down what you think of this deck. I mean, like I said, I got it from eBay. I had a look at the rules and at the list, and I think it's actually a really good deck for a good start of a Jinzo's. There are a good few other Jinzo cards out there. I think there is an Xyz one, and I am going to get that as quick as I can. Because I do like Jinzos and they are quite good. So, again, comment down below what you think. And if you were to add any cards on this, what would you choose and why? And until then, this is Sergeant Phoenix, over and out.